Have you ever stopped texting first, just to see who would notice? Not because you wanted attention, not because you wanted sympathy, but because deep down, you were tired. Tired of being the one who always reached out. Tired of carrying every friendship. Tired of wondering whether people actually cared, or simply replied because you started the conversation. Emma never planned to test her friends, but one vacation changed everything. And the silence she discovered taught her a lesson she would never forget. Emma was the friend everyone liked. At least, that's what she believed. She remembered birthdays. She sent encouraging messages before job interviews. She checked on people when they were sick. She always texted first every morning. Her phone was busy. Chats everywhere. Funny conversations, weekend plans, memes, voice notes. From the outside, Emma seemed surrounded by friends. But there was something she tried not to think about. If she didn't start the conversation, or most conversations never happened. Whenever her phone buzzed, it was usually after she had already sent a message. She noticed it sometimes, then quickly pushed the thought away. They're probably busy. One evening, Emma was having coffee with her friend Sarah. Sarah talked for almost an hour about work, about her boyfriend, about stress, about her future. Emma listened patiently. She always did. When Sarah finally finished, Emma smiled. "Thanks for listening." Sarah laughed. "Actually, I was the one talking the whole time." Emma smiled politely. But inside, something hurt. Because Sarah never asked how Emma was doing, not once. The same thing happened with another friend. And another. And another. Emma started noticing a pattern. People loved talking to her, but very few seemed interested in hearing her. A few months later, Emma booked a vacation. Nothing fancy. Just a peaceful week near the ocean. She was excited. She imagined sharing photos, watching sunsets, relaxing, and secretly, very secretly, she hoped something else would happen. Maybe people would miss her. Maybe someone would check in. Maybe someone would send a message saying, "Hey, how's your trip?" It wasn't a test. At least, that's what she told herself. But deep down, it was. The beach was beautiful. The water sparkled under the sunlight. Emma checked into her hotel, dropped her bags, walked along the shore. She smiled. Life felt peaceful. That evening, she glanced at her phone. Nothing. No problem, everyone was busy. She put the phone away. Emma spent the morning exploring local shops. She took photos, tried new food, watched the sunset. Before bed, she checked her phone again. Still nothing. No messages, no missed calls, no notifications. A tiny disappointment appeared, but she ignored it. Emma sat on a quiet stretch of beach overlooking the ocean. Around her, people laughed with friends, families took pictures, couples held hands. Emma picked up her phone, opened her messages. Silence. The same silence. She stared at the screen longer than she wanted to admit. Then she whispered to herself, "It's only been 3 days." By day 4, Emma started noticing something painful. Every conversation in her chat history had started with her. Every friendship, every interaction, every plan. Her. She was always the one keeping everything alive. A memory came back. Last year she had spent hours planning a surprise birthday dinner for a friend. Decorations, cake, reservations, everything. Months later, it was Emma's birthday. Most people forgot. A few remembered because social media reminded them. At the time, she laughed it off. Now it hurt. The silence felt heavier. Not because nobody texted, because she finally understood what the silence meant. For years, she had been telling herself a comforting story. The story that everyone was busy. The story that everyone cared. The story that effort didn't need to be equal. Now she wasn't so sure. That evening, Emma sat alone near the shoreline, watching waves crash against the sand. Nearby sat an elderly woman reading a book. After a while, the woman smiled. "You look like you're carrying something heavy." Emma laughed softly. "Is it that obvious?" The woman nodded. So Emma told her everything: the friendships, the silence, the unanswered effort, the feeling of being forgotten. The old woman listened quietly, then asked a simple question. "If you stopped watering a plant every day, what would happen?" "It would die," Emma answered. "Maybe," the woman said. "Or maybe it would reveal which plants had roots deep enough to survive." Emma looked at her. The woman smiled. Not everything that disappears was meant to stay. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about those words. Maybe the problem wasn't that people were leaving. Maybe the problem was that she had been holding relationships together by herself. Maybe she wasn't losing friendships. Maybe she was discovering which ones were real. When Emma returned home, she made a decision. She would stop chasing, not out of anger, not out of revenge, not as a game. She would simply stop doing all the work. The first few weeks were painful. Many chats stayed silent, some friendships disappeared completely. That hurt more than she expected, but it also revealed something beautiful. A few people reached out. A few people noticed. A few people genuinely cared. And those friendships became stronger than all the others combined. Months later, Emma sat in her apartment reading a book. Her phone buzzed. A friend had sent a message, not because they needed something, not because they were bored, not because Emma texted first, just because they wanted to know how she was doing. Emma smiled. For the first time in a long time, the effort was shared, and she finally understood something. The right people won't make you carry the entire friendship alone. Because real friendship is not about who reaches out first every time. Real friendship is knowing that both people want to stay connected. And sometimes, the silence you fear the most reveals the truth you needed to hear. Have you ever stopped texting first? What happened? Did people reach out, or did the silence reveal something painful? Share your story below, and remember, you should never have to chase people just to keep your place in their lives. The people who truly